Hi guys, welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbé, and we're here on February 12th, 2019, and we're here through Star Nations Radio, as well as Be Live TV. So good morning to you guys. I'm so glad to see some of you are in the house already, ready to go. So hello, I'm going to say hello. Hi. Hi, Christine. Good morning, Barbie. Glad to see you guys here. So this is just sort of a reminder to, take a look around you and be in the moment for a minute. It's been a really wild ride here. Hi, Rob. Glad to see you. What'd you know, Polly Jo? Yay! Hi, Neshi. Glad to have you in the house. Yeah, it's showtime. This is so funny for me. I was away on vacation last week in Orlando, in Florida, playing a little bit at Disney and at NASA, because my inner child and my husband's inner child really needed some playtime. So that's what we did. We did a lot of things too. Just kind of let down and let go. And so I thought it was really cool that my spiritual team was like ready to talk about the energy of intimacy, not just because Valentine's Day is around the corner, but because energetically a lot of people are in their heart chakra, and some people are in their throat, learning to speak their truth. So it's a really cool time for us to be talking about it. Hi, Julie. Welcome. So, I left negative 17 degrees a couple days before we left to spend time in 80-degree weather, so almost 100 degrees difference, to come back to, 30s, which I was quite happy. It's a lot warmer than when we left. And now I'm having snow. So I'm sitting here with, some residue sunburn in the snow. So it's pretty funny how things can get shifted in just a moment. So my team is really here today to talk about intimacy, and we all have a different version of that. So if you have anybody who might, want to talk about that or want to understand the energy of that or how to create more of that, like and share this post, because it will help get to people who need to see it, who need to hear it. I hope not. Let me know if it is for anybody else. But it is looking like Frozen, the Disney movie, outside, so it could be. We'll see as soon as somebody responds and lets me know. So hopefully you guys will, kind of let me know that, because I think it's a really important issue. Thank you, Christine, for letting me know it's fine. Great. I appreciate that. So intimacy really means having a close connection with someone else. And we all have our own version of what that means. And lots of times we don't even know what we mean by that. We just know that there's a separation, or that our energy is not too connected. So I'm glad, Mary Ellen, that you had to reboot and got back. Glad you're good. Nice. You guys can handle all that. You know how to make that work. This part of my brain never remembers because I'm using it all to sort of channel the energy through. So this is what's really cool. The intimacy is just being closer, being more connected. And that can be with, your partner, And that can be with a friend, that can be with a family member, because when we want intimacy, we want to be more strongly connected to someone. And the reality is that we aren't. Our energy systems, if we don't feel connected, then we aren't. I'm glad we'll see you in the archives, Rob. So you'll enjoy this when you get to watch it. So, and probably there's a reason to not watch it at work, to be able to watch it, from the comfort of your own home. So with our energy fields, we talk about, we have our chakra systems, right? And we're all using at least 7 chakras. Hello, hello. Glad to have you on board. And when we're using our chakra system properly, fully, we feel very whole and complete. But sometimes we are looking for that completion in the energy of another person. And when we're doing that, we're actually draining that person of some of their personal energy. And so sometimes when we don't feel connected, it's because one person is draining energy, and the other person is just giving and giving and giving. And so that's when your relationship energy is out of balance. So when you have 2 different people and they're in their own energy field, when they come together, they will form a connection. And depending on the type of relationship, you will have that cord of connection with that person in that chakra. So you may have it in one chakra to them, and they may have it in a different one. Because often men and women do relationships differently. It's just how we're made up. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when we're trying to make them feel the same way that we do, or that we run into problems. No big surprise there, right? And when we get to this time of year, I mean, there's a reason Valentine's Day is here, especially out here where it is cold or snowy. We're snuggled in at home, but you can feel a million miles away from the person next to you. And when that's happening, it's because you aren't engaged energetically. So, hello, my goodness, all these people jumping in. Hi, Madonna, nice to see you. And hi, Tina, great to have you too. Oh, hi, Carol. Carol's my godmother, so she's got this extra special heart connection with me. So of course she's here in the Intimacy Show because she's got such a big heart connection with my heart. So when you have a particular type of relationship with someone, when it's a friendship, when it's an acquaintance, when it's a romantic partner. And you may be more invested in the relationship than the other person, and that. You can feel that. And that's when things feel out of balance, right? So when we're talking about the energy of intimacy, it's creating more connections. Sounds pretty easy, right? I actually do this whole process with couples who are getting married. Because, I am somebody who performs marriage ceremonies. And so one of the things that I like them to do before they get married, surprise, surprise, is to understand what their energy feels like separate from their partner, and when their energy combines, what happens? Do they stay steady in the same energy? Do they get depleted? Does one person pull more energy from a certain area than another? And to see how many cords of connection that they have and where they can work on bringing balance. And you actually can feel it, sense it, and know it. So even the people who are maybe not as intuitive, they are able to do this. And I've done this in large workshops, believe it or not. I will have people partner up with somebody they came with to feel the energy, and then partner up with a complete stranger and see how their energy shifts with this person that they don't know. And you can feel it and sense it and know it. And, you know, we don't even realize the way we shift our energy around different people. But think about how you are with your mother, or were with your mother, and think about how you were with your father. Different, right? You know, even though you love them both, you probably had a different type of relationship with each of them. Your energy was connected in a different way. So it didn't mean that you weren't intimate with both of them. You probably were, but it means that you felt love energy and they felt love energy, or not, right? And so we use those first connections as our guide to what intimate energy should feel like. And we all know this from psychology. You know, you tend to, you know, date or marry, you know, one of your parents energetically. And it's because it's what you're used to. It's what you grew up with. It's what was your role model, right? So let me see. I saw something. Yes. Tina said, when I first met my husband, it was like we were in an energetic bubble. It was really strong and overwhelming. That was quite an experience. Yes. You know, people talk about love at first sight, right, Tina? And it's sometimes that, you know, you connect with that person and it's like, boom, there's this instant connection. It's like you both went into the relationship, you know, in the same way. And it was like, whoa. And people can get really overwhelmed because it's a lot of energy exchange right off the bat. There was a moment with my husband. We met in high school, so kind of young. And there was a moment, probably about 3 or 4 months in, when all of a sudden the energy between us shifted. You know, rather than being kind of cautious and shy, just all of a sudden we had like this real moment, this real connection. And my first response to him, because I've always been kind of a truth talker, was, you know, I can't meet you yet. It's too early. Because I just knew, right? And his response was perfect, because he said, do you want me to come back later? You know, do you want me to leave and come back later? And I was like, nope. I just have to deal with this surge of energy that I experienced. And he experienced it too. So we had this kind of like knowing really quickly, which unnerved, you know, our parents to some degree, I'm sure. But here we are, and, you know, 30 something years later, we had that moment like you're talking about, Tina. So when you're having difficulty, because, you know, having been married over 30 years, you do go through these spurts where intimacy just doesn't really add up. And it's something that I was trying to understand, the disconnect. I could feel a disconnect, like we weren't as engaged. And it didn't feel like it was anything necessarily wrong, but it was just like, it just didn't feel like we were connected. And we weren't. We had dropped some connections. So just imagine, right? Your 7 chakras are all lined up. So most men go into relationship with their 2nd chakra. So they connect to you, 2nd chakra, into your 2nd chakra, which is a great place to connect, because frankly, that's where desire gets all of its energy and passion. And well, you know, that can be a really cool thing. But with women, we tend to go in with our heart. We're looking for love, right? And men are looking for a partner, and women are looking for love. So just imagine that I have this golden strand going from my heart connecting to my husband's heart. But his golden strand is connecting from his second chakra to mine. Now, that's not imbalance, right? It's going one way from two different chakras. And, you know, sometimes because we're looking for love, as women, often, we will then turn on our second chakra to have the desire and the sex piece. And then we have that connection there. But it takes men longer usually. This is a generalization. I'm only talking about, 80, 85% of the population. So I'm being very general here, okay? Men will go in to a love space when they start to feel relaxed and comfortable and when they can be themselves. Isn't it so funny that we can't really feel love until we can be ourselves? When we're not pretending, we're not all dressed up for that romantic date, Valentine's, we're gonna, put on this outfit and do all this stuff. And that's not who we are every day. Doesn't mean it can't be beautiful and romantic, right? But when you want intimacy, you want somebody who has the same connection to you, right? When you're dressed up and when you have the flu, right? That they still want to take care of you, or they still want to be with you and you want to be with them. And that's the sickness and in health thing that comes in wedding vows. Sometimes when people use that. Sorry, I'm starting to get really hot, which means a lot of energy is flowing. So that's what was meant. Do you love them no matter what? And that goes for your friends too, right? When we're in a true friendship, we don't have, I'm only your friend when, we're playing music together. But when we're not playing music together, well, then, you're just an acquaintance. But when we're playing music together, we're like best buds. Weird cross signals, right? And that's not an even energy exchange, right? Because that isn't being intimate. And a whole bunch of you guys, I'm sure, had the misconception, because I've had so many classes on intimacy here at Trinity Healing Sanctuary, that people just assume intimacy means sex. No, intimacy means a heart-to-heart connection, and it means being more aware, aware of yourself, right? So our sense of self is in our third chakra. So if we're standing there hiding who we truly are, can we connect energetically, right? But when you can just relax and be you, and then the other person is relaxed and being them, you create a connection between yourself and their self. So this is so cool. Oh, that's so sweet. So Tina said, then later he told me he's seen me on one of his travels, and I was passing by him at the time, and he knew that time and was searching for me all the years, like it was meant to be. Yeah, sometimes you just know, you sense your soulmate. Yeah, and when it happens when we're young, we get scared lots of times. Oh, thank you, Roberta. I'm really happy to be back. Though, I got really used to wearing my Mickey Mouse ears. Mickey Mouse ears are these really, They used to be these like round hats, right, with the ears. Now they're these like fancy headbands with like sequins and feathers, and I got Mardi Gras ears, and I wore them everywhere we went because everybody was, you got your inner child got to play. So it's been a really different sensation. My inner child really liked wearing my Mickey ears. Thank you, Neshi. Thank you for reminding people to share the show. So when we connect with people, we're going to connect with them in at least one of the 7 chakras. Otherwise, you don't even remember their name. And like you have the clerk who checks you out at the register. For a brief moment, you have a connection, and then you leave. And if you don't remember them and they don't remember you, then there's no cord that's still attached, right? And those energy cords are what creates our connectedness, our ability to feel like we are in communion with the other person. So one of the things that, we're going to check into in a little while when we do the meditation is we're going to feel our own energy system. And then we're going to call to mind someone that we want to check how our energy shifts when we think about that person. And when we think about them, it shifts our energy field to how we are when we're with them. And for most people, your energy is going to shift. It's not a bad thing. It's just how that happens. And for me, I can tell you that, I have certain people that my energy like boosts up. And then I have other people where I feel really drained. And that's because the exchange is kind of one-sided. Does that make sense? All right. Poo cup. And you guys will be excited to see I bought new Winnie the Pooh cups. I don't know if you realize that they're that important to me, but Pooh is my totem animal, so that's how that goes. So in the first chakra, when you have a first chakra connection, that has a lot to do with safety and security. So if you work with someone and they or you control the money, so like if somebody works for you and you pay them, you guys are connected in the first chakra. If you live with someone, you're connected in the first chakra because that's all about your safety and your security. We also have connections with everyone we've ever lived with and anyone we've ever worked for, and anyone who's ever worked for us, unless we've removed those cords. And there is a way to do that, and I will do cord removals in another show because I think, that's pretty important. But for now, just know that if you haven't done that, then you're connected to all of those people. And they're connected to you. So there's already energy being exchanged back and forth between you, just in your first chakra. And that can be depleting, especially if, say, your parents had trouble with you moved a lot, or they had trouble with finances, or that type of thing. If you're a child who had divorced parents, that energy exchange often can feel like a tug of war. And that's often not a healthy connection. So when I talk about a healthy connection, the way my team shows it to me, and it's real easy, is that when you have a connection with someone else in love and light, that's what it looks like. It looks like golden light, strands of golden light. when you've had some toxic relationship stuff, you've had fights, you've had quarrels, disagreements, somebody is, takes more than they give, those cords are thicker and they're darker. They actually look kind of brown and mucky. And so the longer the cord's been there, the thicker that it is. And if it's gone through more than one lifetime, they can be huge. I've seen them up to the size of like a tree trunk. And that's because they've done multiple lifetimes of toxic relationships with the same people. So that can be really difficult. Oh my goodness, we have the UK in the house. Nice, glad to see you. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. So you can just imagine how just in that one chakra, things can be a little rough. Now in your second chakra, that's where you form all of your relationships generally. And so everyone that you've been friends with, they're all in that chakra. Everyone you've ever been intimate, had sex with, that is in there as well. And those cords are thicker because you've had energy exchange. It doesn't have to be a bad thicker. They just may be thicker. They can still be light if every time has been in love and light. Sorry, my nose wants to run a little, which is good. It means I'm detoxing up there. So when you think about it, a really, truly intimate connection with someone, you're going to be connected in each and every chakra. And if you're not, then what's going on, right? And it's interesting when I work with couples, there are sometimes where one partner is completely all in and the other one isn't. And we use those phrases, right? Like I'm all in, this is the girl for me, and that, and the girl might be like, well, I'm not really sure. So I'm taking it slow and, we'll see what happens. She's got less energy attached to the relationship, right? And when we are in relationship, like right now, you and I are in a relationship. I'm chatting with you, and so you are hearing that. So for most of us, we're connected through our throat chakra. Some of us might be connected more if I know you in person, like my godmother, I'm connected to her heart because, we both, love seeing each other and being with each other. So it's a very big maternal kind of energy. But even just right now, having this conversation, we have a cord of connection. And that is so you hear what I'm saying, right? And I hear what you're posting and what you're saying. Because otherwise if I miss it, I'm not hearing, right? Now, those of you who watch my other show on Wednesdays, to do that work, to clear everyone who ever listens to that, I'm connected to everybody's crown chakra. And if the crown and the higher self is ready and willing, and your team wants to work with my team, then I literally am connected to every single chakra at some point, except as soon as I'm done, I cut every cord with every person on my end. So it's like, I'm not going to bed still attached to your energy. It wouldn't be helpful, right? And that's what a really good healer will do. They cut their cords, every single person they work with, every single day. And then again, at the end of the day, just to make sure they didn't miss anything. So when you want to create a more intimate relationship with someone, first of all, you have to find out whether they want to create one with you. And if you both want more intimacy, then it's looking into where you're not connected, right? And sometimes you're not connected in the heart. Sometimes you're not connected in your intuitive space. When you're connected in your third eye, it's that kind of energy when you like almost complete each other's sentences. You have a sense of what they're thinking before they say it. But you're not assuming you know, but you can feel that energy there. And it's just really good to understand where your energy is and how do you shift. Oh, Jean, perfect. How do you succeed in cutting those cords and know they are cut? Well, you can only disconnect on your end, first of all. You can encourage the other person to disconnect on their end. But when you cut the cord, my team doesn't actually call it cord cutting anymore. It's kind of an antiquated term. We talk about cord removal because they're like weeds. They will grow back if you just cut them. But if you pull them out at the roots, then they're gone. The other person can try to reconnect with you, and they usually do in the next 3 days. They try to email you, call you, text you. And then you get to cut the, you remove it and say, no, thank you. No, thank you. Right. And you know that they're cut and that they're removed when that person doesn't come to mind anymore. And so when somebody jumps into my mind who I know I successfully had cut cords with, I know they're thinking of me and calling my energy to them. And then I gently remove it, send love and light back their direction, and move on with my day. Fill in any places where they were trying to connect. Now, there are people who connect with us in a positive way, and that happens front to front. All of your cords go from your front and to their front. And those are when you are more open, more vulnerable, more yourself, and more intimate. When you have people who kind of manipulate or maneuver energy, then they come at you sideways or from your back. And then you know that they're not doing it from a heart space, not from a genuine space, but from a need kind of space. So people who are, people talk about energy vampires, which I think is a harsh term, but there are people who, everybody who's empathic, we tap into other people's energy. It's whether we do it on purpose or not. And most people do it without knowing, which is actually what happens. But if you're aware of your own energy system, like I'm very aware of when somebody's tapped into me, and I lovingly send them light back and encourage them to call me. Yes. So the term ghosting, when somebody seemingly disappears, abruptly disconnects, leaving you wonder what happened. Is that cord cutting or manipulation? Both. People who do ghosting, this is a really good question, Nashi. Most people are too afraid of confrontation. So how's the best way for me to put that? They disconnect their energy in some way. All right. Sorry, my team is giving me two different answers. So I was trying to bring it down to a more manageable place. So there's two types of ghosting. There are ones who ghost because they really are done. They're done with the friendship, they're done with the relationship, and they don't have enough ability to speak up and end the relationship in a forward fashion, like speaking to your face, right? They just like stop answering your calls. It's kind of cowardly in a lot of ways, but sometimes it's it's how they protect themselves. There's that way of ghosting. This way of ghosting, where it's manipulation, is when they stop calling and that type of thing, but they leave their energy attached. Because you're like, why didn't they call? I can't believe they didn't call. What's happened? Why? So they've got you thinking about them over and over and over again. That's when they've left the cord of attachment there and they've left it sideways, right? Because they want you to want to see them or they want to be more powerful. They want to leave an impression with you. They want to be the most important person you ever met, kind of thing. So they leave all their cords attached, and every so often we'll yank on it. So that's the best expression I can give for that. So you're talking about one through your heart chakra without your permission. So when you have one that goes through your heart chakra, it's because the other person wants you to love them in some way. And that can be removed by sending them love and light. And I call in the big guns for that. I usually call in Archangel Michael. But I have had a few instances where Archangel Michael has had to bring in other archangels to help with ancient cords. So, shame on them. Well, yes and no. I feel like when we learn how to manage our own energy, then no one can manipulate ours. And when they try, we can feel that. And yes, it can be hard to send love energy to somebody that you don't like. I had someone recently, well, now it's a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years now, who did a lot of manipulation and a lot of scheming and a lot of cord connecting in very toxic ways. She impacted my practice, my business, my school, my marriage, a number of my friendships, and really wreaked havoc. And the only way for me to move through that energy was to be able to get to a point where I could send love energy. Not that I love this person. They are not my favorite person on the planet, but I can send best wishes. Like I send, the intention that they will have learned their lesson from all of this, that they will go to a higher vibration because of this, and that I wish them the best, but out of my energy field for the rest of this lifetime. And, you know, it took a while to get there. It really did. And, you know, my spiritual team called me on it every time I sort of was like, oh, I'm sending, you know, love. And they're like, yeah, you're still mad. And it was like, yes, I'm still mad. Right. And now, you know, it's more every so often I'll get a ding that there's still a little bit there. But it's more of a, you know, I'm sad for them that they felt like they had to do that. So I have a lot of compassion. You know, it's like they didn't think enough of themselves to actually step into who they are and live their own life purpose. They were trying to destroy someone else's to get what they wanted. And that's not helpful, right? Yes, you can cut cords from people who are alive or who are not alive. Whether it's your parents or an ex or friends, the cords are still there. Like you carry them for a lifetime. So it's a really good thing to do on the other side, because cords that are connected in love and light, you remove all the toxic energy. And if a new cord of love just wants to connect, it can. And does shielding prevent others from attaching cords to you? To a degree. But I wouldn't say 100% of the time. It's about 80%. So yes, shielding definitely helps. I use psychic protection blend, the Trinity healing blends that I channel that you can get on my website that look like this. They're a little roll on. And psychic protection, every time I'm doing work, if I'm working like outside of my sanctuary, then I'm also going to wear anti-bully, because anti-bully keeps someone else's energy outside of your auric layers if they're not there in healing love energy. I hope that makes sense. So those two are like huge sellers, unfortunately. And I even have the spray bottles of them, and I spray. Like when we went to Florida, when we went to Disney, every day, psychic protection, anti-bully went on before we even left the hotel room. And I sprayed the whole hotel room because people's energy is in the furniture, in the carpet, right? So you're breaking that cord. And then I also use energy detox at the end of the day. And that blend pulls off any energy that's not yours. Like Teflon, it slides down you and goes into Grandmother Earth. And she composts it and turns it back into beautiful love energy. So how cool is that? So kind of going back to the intimacy energy, that you can create these connections with people. We do it all the time. We just don't do it with intention. When you want to create a more intimate relationship with someone, then you use some more intention. But it has to be both ways. Otherwise, you're the one plunking the cord in somebody else and trying to manipulate energy. Not cool. And it doesn't work, frankly. They feel resentful when that happens, right? Thank you, Neshi, for putting that up. So, you know, there are some things that are just easier to work on. And one of those things is to literally stand holding hands and check in, feel what you're feeling, feel what your connection is, and invite them to do the same. Because if you want to build an intimacy and so do they, they're going to be willing to hold your hands and close their eyes. And you just picture each chakra and what they feel like. And we're going to do that right now. So, cool. We're going to do that right now. All right, I'm going to hide my name, but I'm going to leave my website up. That's what my team's saying. So get yourself nice and cozy. You want your arms and your legs uncrossed. And if you can, try to keep your back straight. Just encourages the hara line, which goes down the center like a crystalline tube, to just be straight and not bent.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make some clearing noises like that. So we're going to start by setting the intention that this healing is for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves. And we're going to invite in the divine energy to surround and protect us in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light. And we're inviting in our spiritual teams, our angels, our guides, our ancestors, all divine beings of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibration available to us in this moment now.
Yeah.
So I'm first going to have you check in and notice your own energy. And we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to feel that first chakra below the tailbone. It's kind of a red color if you're somebody who's more visual. But just notice it. See if it's round and bright and full. Is it wobbly? And just notice what you are able to. There's no right or wrong way. And now move up into your second chakra just below your belly button. And check in with that orange round vibration. Is it full? Is it bright? Is it wobbly? Is it round?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now move up to the third chakra just below the rib cage and check in with that yellow orb, our personal sun. And how bright is it? How round? How is it spinning? Is it full? Is it leaky? Is it squished?
Yeah. Got it.
And just notice it for a moment.
Got it. Got it.
And then move into your heart. Right in the center of your chest, and notice that green or pink color. And is it bright, and is it full and round and spinning?
Got it. Yeah. Got it.
And move up into your throat and really feel that connection there. That blue color. And is it full and round? It's spinning. Then now move up into your sixth chakra in the middle of your forehead. And just notice and feel that purple indigo. Just see if it's round and spinning and balanced.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
And move up to your crown chakra right above your head. And just notice and experience the golden white light. And is it full and round and complete? Just take a moment to just feel your whole energy system right this moment, just as a benchmark. Now, I want you to call into mind someone that you would like to have a closer relationship with. It doesn't matter who that person is, but just call their energy to mind. And feel how your energy is shifting, or sense the shift. And now let's check back in that first chakra. When you're connected with this person, is it as full and as bright? Do you feel more energy going out or coming in? And now move into your second chakra below the belly button and feel how it feels here. And again, do you feel like there's more energy flowing out or coming in? Does it feel balanced? Do you feel pulling in either direction? And move up into your third chakra. Again, feel whether you're as full and as bright. If there's any pulling of energy. And move into the heart and experience the fullness of that. Is your heart as wide open? Do you feel like you're being pulled forward or backwards?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now move into your throat and see if it's as wide open. Are you able to speak your truth authentically with them? Are they able to speak it with you?
Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
And this can be a difficult one. And that's okay. We often don't want to say things that will hurt someone else's feelings.
Yeah.
And now move up into your third eye and just see if you're intuitively connected, whether it's an equal give and take.
Yeah.
And then see if your crowns are connected. And often they aren't, so don't worry if they are, because we each have a different interpretation of the divine, so they don't always match. Now bring your energy back into your own system. Feel yourself come back into your balance, your center. And if there are any toxic cords between you and this person that you would like to release, you can call in Archangel Michael and ask that the toxic cords be removed, because only the cords of light will stay connected. Doesn't mean you'll forget each other or anything like that. It just means you can start over energetically from this moment forward.
Good.
Releasing the old toxic energy. All right, so now just really allow yourself to come back into your own energy. And one of the things you can do to cut cords is you bring your hands down your body. You can also place your hand in front and behind your second chakra. Take a deep breath. Blow out. And allow the energy to drop into the ground. So how is that for people? And the sprays are on my website. We send them out, usually within a day or two. I have people who work here 3 days a week at the moment. So when they're here, then all the orders go out. So how's that? It's interesting to do this with the other person present, because they also will feel how their body reacts to your energy. Yes, put hands in front of yourself. Yes, in front of yourself, like this way. You can also do it down the back if you think you connected in the back. And you can place one hand in front and one hand behind your body in your second chakra. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that, Tina. Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, right? And when I work with couples, as I said, we work on both people being able to keep their own energy in relationship so that they're not draining the other person, and they're not overgiving, and that they can be able to speak their heart's truth in a loving, kind manner. Because then you learn to not shield and not hold your defenses. And that's when real intimacy comes, is when we can be vulnerable, when we can be ourselves, and we don't judge. When we don't judge each other, we just allow ourselves to be, then we are able to be closer and more connected. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. That's really, I find it very helpful. And like I said, whenever I'm going to officiate someone's wedding, we do a couple sessions of that where we heal that energy so that they step into their new contract. Because when you sign that document saying that you're married, you enter into a contract, an agreement with this person. And so you want to step in as you, not as who you were pretending to be on the first date, which might not have been you. It might have been like, oh, do I look pretty enough? Should I say the right thing, right? You want to be able to just be raw and you. And you want them to be that with you too. And you want to have really open communication. So, that fifth chakra, that's a lot of where the communication comes from. So a lot of people have trouble in that chakra because, we hold back what we want to say because we don't want to hurt their feelings or vice versa. So that can get all caught up in that. So, so this is one of those things where, this is when this is how to increase your energy in your relationship, in your intimacy. It is also the way to release yourself from a toxic relationship. You come in your own energy, you see where your energy is being depleted, and then the cords are removed. And you want them at the root of the relationship, whether it's in just this lifetime or any other lifetime. Because that is so important to creating a new foundation for yourself. So I hope that this has helped you guys. And if you enjoyed it, please like it, share it, get it out there. Because there's a lot to be said about, creating this kind of relationship. for everyone. And I do work with couples on that, on how to help them with their energy, because I think that's important too. So, for those of you who are, Star Nation's fans, you can join us tonight at 8 o'clock with Eastern Standard Time with Nashi, Communications from Home. I look forward to seeing what that's about. I didn't get to see, so that'll be exciting. And then tomorrow I will be here for Soul Connections at 7 o'clock, and I will be doing a healing meditation. You get to set the intention of what you want to heal and how you want to heal it. And for those of you who are asking for cord removal, tune in tomorrow night and we can take care of that. Our teams can work together on helping you to release those cords. Easy, quickly, and beautifully. And then I follow up with card readings. And we'll see. My team hasn't told me what cards I'm using, so I'm excited to find out what decks are going to be on hand tomorrow night at 7. So with that, you guys, I can't wait to see you either next week at noon or tomorrow night. And have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.